my good friend Ken Coleman, the former host of the EntreLeadership podcast, joins me in studio. He's also Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author 3 times over, host of a brand new product here on Ramsey Networks called The Front Row Seat. If you've not had an opportunity to join the Front Row Seat, you should. He'll be speaking at EntreLeadership Summit, May 18 and 21 when we're in Denver. One of our Ramsey personalities helping us out there with great information and pretty fun stuff. So Front Row Seat is it's happening. It's real.
Yeah.
Tell folks what it's about.
You know, it's a conversation. We have 3 clear goals. We want to have conversations that promote anybody who listens or watches ability to get better personally, which means they're going to take a better version of themselves into the office. And when you get better, you have the opportunity to move up. That is for progress, promotions. And we know in the American workplace, if you move up 2 or 3 times, you're going to move into some type of a leadership role. And so we want you to be able to lead well. So those are our 3 buckets of content: getting better, moving up, leading well. And we're going to do that with long-form conversations with captains of industry, coaches, thought leaders, men and women who are doing something significant and they've got a unique viewpoint. And what makes it special is we're bringing the audience truly into the show. We have a small, intimate audience that sits around us. We'll be doing it virtually as well. And what makes it unique is they get a chance to raise their hand and get to ask a question. I wanted to remove that velvet rope that sometimes these awesome podcasts, you and I, we get to do. We're blessed to do some pretty crazy things and sit with people that, you know, most people don't get to sit with. And I wanted to remove that barrier and let the audience get a chance to learn with me, but also ask a question.
It's important. Once you guys take a view of this, you'll see that Ken and the team have created almost a living room environment to where we're all just kind of sitting around and talking with some people that you never would have had the opportunity. One of the first ones we put out was with Nikki Haley, ambassador to the UN and presidential candidate, the last one to step aside in the Republican primary to Donald Trump. And obviously governor of South Carolina at a very time of crisis and racial tension there. There was a historic shooting there in a church at the time. You covered all of that with her. The audience asked her some neat questions. And, she's an incredible source for things like leadership and leading in crisis and so on. And so she's an example of the type of heavy hitter you're putting in the other seat there.
That's right.
To have people go in. This is pretty cool. It's a lot of fun.
It is fun. I will say the team and I have enjoyed creating it. We tested it. We piloted it. It's done very, very well. And you know, back when I spent 3.5 of the best professional years of my life hosting this very show. And I enjoy digging and learning, but this is a concept that I've wanted to do for a long time. For people who are old enough to get this math, the math is Inside the Actor Studio meets Masterclass meets MTV Unplugged. You know, the studio we have here is gorgeous. And it gives you that feel like you're in a pub, like you've all pulled up, circled some chairs around, and had a conversation. And that's what we're trying to create.
You got to get the smoke machine out to kind of get the idea that there's some cigar smoke in the air.
Right, we can't do real cigar smoke in there, but we're creating that feel and very excited about what we've done so far and what's coming. We have some amazing guests lined up. We're going to continue to bring it. So it's I find, Dave, that 2 things have helped me the most in my professional growth. 1, proximity, being in some rooms, being around people where I could observe and learn. I wrote a book called The Proximity Principle based on that concept. And the second thing, asking good questions. I think a singular question, has the ability to change your life and open up opportunities that previously didn't exist. And we want to promote curiosity because leaders are learners. People that are high performers are always growing, always learning.
Yeah, but I think in this long-form setting in a living room, you're getting things out of some of these leaders that the untold story, the behind the scenes, right. and probably some some actual scoops here.
Yeah, they're comfortable.
They let their hair down.
And you know this from Entre Summit. Well, the goal that I have, and the team knows this, and they shared it with me. They said one of the things we've seen consistently at our Entre Summit interviews and when you were on EntreLeadership is that you got the guest to say, I've never shared this before. And so we're working hard to get to a place where that guest reveals something they've never revealed before. Not as a kitschy, kind of cool thing, but to go to some depth where we take that person to a place where they're thinking and feeling in a way that's beyond just answering the questions about their expertise. We want to have a deep conversation.
Yeah, and the setting and the length of
Does
time
that.
allows that to
It
occur.
does.
Yeah. Now, you're going to be with us in Denver at the EntreLeadership Summit, May 18 through 21. If you're listening or watching, I sure hope you're going to be with us. Not if you're not got your ticket, but you better check. There might be one left. It's right there. So, you're going to be doing a talk on the self-ish leader.
Yeah.
Talk about this.
Yeah, so the word selfish has a very negative connotation, and we understand why. But we're not talking about being selfish. We're going to talk about self-awareness. Self-awareness is a superpower, and certainly for all of us, but also for leaders. We're going to be talking about a 4-part framework that will allow you to become a self-aware leader. And the 4-part framework is simply this. Number one, you have to be in a position where you have people around you who'll tell you the hard truth and say, you're screwing up. You're messing up right now. You're not, this, and these got to be people who aren't afraid of you. And you've got to create an environment where you're willing to listen to it. So you've got to see it. And many times we as leaders have blind spots that if we don't have people around us to tell us the truth, personally and professionally, we never see it. So step one is you got to see it. Where are my weaknesses? Where are the blind spots? Then you got to sit with it, Dave. Now, this is the hard part. And I'll just be very vulnerable. I've been in therapy for the last 4.5 months, and it has been so life-giving for me in working through pain that I didn't realize that I, A, hadn't dealt with, number one, or A, and then B, it was affecting me in multiple areas. And it was a blind spot for me. And so we got to sit with it. So that is either with a therapist, a coach, a pastor, prayer, scripture. You got to sit with it long enough to where you get to the point to see what's below the weakness. I'm going to say this. I believe this is true. Most of our professional shortcomings as leaders have a personal reason behind it.
Oh, sure.
We know this. I don't think that's some big shocking thing. But the point is, you as a leader, it's hard to go, okay, I'm micromanaging my team. I'll use that as an example. Okay, why are you micromanaging? Well, you're afraid of something. What are you afraid of? Then once you figure out what you're afraid of, why are you afraid of it? That's what I mean by sit with it. The third thing you got to do is share it with the team. Now, here's the thing about sharing it with the team and with your friends and your family. It's not breaking news. You're the last person to know. They already know. So why is there power in sharing it? That vulnerability does 2 things. It creates amazing trust because the team goes, okay, now we got a leader who's owning stuff that we've seen, but they are owning it. And that transparency creates trust. The other thing that it does is it opens you up to now be able to get their feedback on how to solve it, and then you got to receive what they're saying. That's the 4th thing, solve it. So I'm not doing the whole talk right now, but we're going to cover those 4 things. You got to see it, sit in it, share it, and then solve for it. And some of this is really personal, but a lot of it is just, I've had the privilege of interviewing thousands of leaders in my career. And the ones that I could look at from history that I've read, you and I both love biographies, the most powerful, most influential, healthy leaders were those that were self-aware. And self-awareness is a superpower. And it's a bit of an homage to my former boss, your good friend, John Maxwell, who one of his 21 laws is the law of the lid. And because he's going to be there, I'm just going to briefly pay homage to that. But one of the lids for leaders, Dave, is a lack of self-awareness.
Yeah, holds you back for sure. Because it's impossible to fix the holes if you don't know they're there.
You can't even see it.
Yeah.
You're walking around like a horse. I think of a horse with blinders. And I'll just be, again, vulnerable. I was in a place where I was like one of those thoroughbreds in the Kentucky Derby. They put blinders on their eyes so that they're only looking forward. Mm-hmm. But they bump into each other because of that. And it can be a real scrum and a real mess in that. And so we got to take the blinders off so that we aren't bumping into everybody and causing,
Get a little peripheral vision going. Yeah.
So that's what we're going to share. I think hopefully it'll be helpful to every leader in the room. I believe it'll be applicable to every leader.
Yeah. So the self-aware leader will be talked about in Denver, Colorado at the Gaylord Resort. Ken Coleman Ramsey personality will be one of our people that attends that and is speaking, and he'll be talking about that. Be sure and check out the new show, Front Row Seat, as well. There's several of them already posted, and you can go back and kind of catch up if you want to. There's some excellent interviews on there already, and many, many more to come. So just go ahead and subscribe so they drop into your inbox and they're automatically in your podcast process. You don't want to miss that. Ken, thanks for dropping by, brother.
Thanks for having me. Can't wait to see everybody at Summit.
Going to be great.